Now at 11, the NYPD stepping up its patrols as the city fights to keep public parks open, what the mayor is now promising to close.
Plus,
fortunately, my foolishness infected my family.
the CEO of a hospital in the middle of a hot zone tests positive for coronavirus. Now he's speaking only to News 4. The mistake, he says, landed him there in isolation. Good evening. I'm Natalie Pasquarella.
And I'm Stephen Holt. Thanks so much for joining us at 11. The outbreak appears to be picking up pace as the number of coronavirus cases in New York City surpasses 15,000. And as the death toll sadly nears 200. Governor Andrew Cuomo today saying that the peak could be just weeks away. So in the latest effort to stop this spread, Mayor de Blasio says he plans to shut down some city streets to vehicle traffic. He'll start by closing 2 streets in each of the 5 boroughs to help pedestrians maintain their social distance. News 4's Ray Villeda kicking off tonight's team coverage from Queens. That's the borough with the highest number of confirmed cases, Ray.
Natalie, this borough also home to Elmhurst Hospital, which is dealing with a large number of those COVID-19 cases. Tonight, we also know 200 members, more than 200 members of the NYPD have tested positive for coronavirus. More than 2,800 members out sick. And those officers that are working will now be enforcing social distancing. In the epicenter of the national coronavirus crisis,
the entire nation depends on New York City. We need more federal help, and we need it quickly.
Help needed in the form of testing, medical equipment, and hospital beds. Today, the federal government delivered 400 new ventilators to a Brooklyn warehouse. But Governor Andrew Cuomo says it's not enough, with a peak in cases expected in 2 to 3 weeks.
You want a pat on the back for sending 400 ventilators? What are we going to do with 400 ventilators when we need 30,000 ventilators?
While hospitals deal with the growing number of cases, the NYPD is trying to stop the spread of the virus, enforcing social distance. This is what it looked like Tuesday evening in Sunset Park. Guys kicking a ball, a lack of social distance among parkgoers. Parks Department patrols are breaking up a band and breaking up folks playing contact sports.
They're just doing their job, so we gotta go.
Expect more of that in the coming days, along with closing off of sports fields. The city prepared to take more drastic action.
If by the end of Saturday it is not sufficiently clear that New Yorkers are following these new rules, at that point, we'll be prepared to shut down playgrounds for the foreseeable future.
Action taken now to save lives of New Yorkers in the coming weeks.
It's about my mother. It's about your mother. It's about your loved one. And we will do anything we can to make sure that they are protected.
The governor getting emotional there. Now, Mayor Bill de Blasio says 500 inmates from Rikers will be released, those who have nonviolent felonies and misdemeanors, all of this to alleviate crowding at Rikers. Also, some birthing restrictions. Partners who are healthy and not showing symptoms of COVID-19 will be allowed into the hospital room, while those who have tested positive and are showing symptoms will not. We're live in Long Island City tonight. I'm Ray Villeda, News 4, New York.
All right, Ray, thank you. Well, the White House is urging people who recently visited New York City to self-quarantine for 14 days.
All this because the city has become an epicenter for the coronavirus pandemic, with more than 14,000 people who have tested positive for the virus here. That announcement coming a day after Florida Governor Ron DeSantis ordered visitors from the tri-state area to self-isolate for 2 weeks.
Because of the rate of the number of cases, you may have been exposed before you left New York.
Dr. Birk says anyone who left New York a few days ago should start the quarantine clock from the point they left the city.
Well, with ridership in a free fall and the number of sick workers on the rise, the MTA announced today it is slashing service on subways, buses, and commuter rails by at least 25%. News 4's Myles Miller continues tonight's team coverage live from Grand Central Terminal. And Myles, you're going to break down what the MTA is calling its essential service plan.
That's right, and officials like to talk in platitudes and like to use percentages. That's to soften the blow. But to give you a little perspective, there were 700,000 trips on Monday. The MTA told passengers to stay home to stop the spread of the coronavirus, and boy, did New Yorkers listen.
Ridership has sunk to never-before-seen lows. Subway ridership down by a startling 87%. buses by more than 70%.
Starting tomorrow, the agency is cutting subway service a whopping 25%. AM and PM peak service remains the same. The B, W, and Z lines won't run Monday through Friday, and some express trains will run local. Starting Thursday, buses will operate at 75% of normal operation, an inconvenience for some who still have to commute to work.
Well, I gotta work. I gotta pay the bills somehow.
And on Friday, Long Island Railroad will operate at 65% of normal daily service. Morning and night peak service won't change. It's just after 6:30, the height of rush hour here at Grand Central Terminal. Because of the coronavirus, this place is not packed as it normally would be. Also on Friday, Metro North is running hourly trains on the Harlem, Hudson, and New Haven lines. There'll be more service during peak hours, and weekend service will be reduced. Shuttle service is suspended on the upper Harlem line. Maria Makana, a home health aide, forced to commute as the virus spread, was just trying to make sense of all the changes.
It worries me a lot. It really worries me a lot. But I need the money.
And it's not just low ridership, it's also the amount of workers who were out because of the coronavirus. There are 52 workers who tested positive. That doesn't take into account the hundreds who came in contact with them. We're live at Grand Central Terminal this evening. I'm Myles Miller, News 4 New York.
All right. Thank you, Myles.